All right. Hola mola cola, everybody. Welcome back to another art stream with Tyra Tiffy. Um, we had a bit of a late start today, but it's all cool. I got a lot of things to talk about today. Um, but just a lot of design stuff we have planned for today's stream. So, for those of you watching on YouTube, hopefully, I hope the content's useful and it's, brings some value to you. And if it did, make sure you hit the like button when it does. I appreciate that a lot. That's going to help me push out the video to help out other people. And, hopefully it'll help me win this contest and people will read my comic. So, because that's what we're doing today. That's what we're doing for the next 2 months. We're going to be talking about making comics and just kind of how the process is for me. And just sharing what I've learned about making webcomics, for the most part. So, speaking of webcomic, yeah, I am making a new webcomic, but, I do have one already online, and it's called Reborn Daughter, but this one is rated for ages 16 plus, so if you're 16 years old or older, come check out this comic. It's a romance drama comic about a young man who discovers he's gonna have a future daughter and we don't know who the mom is yet. So that sounds like something you're interested in reading. Go ahead and give that a read. Speaking of romance, that's gonna be the new comic I'm working on is another romance comic, but this one is a bit more I will say traditional to a sense, because Reborn Daughter is a comic where I break a lot of rules which means that it's not set to be a successful comic, which is okay. I totally went in there understanding that, so I'm not mad about it. But but this time we're gonna work on something with ideas and techniques that allegedly do work, so we'll see how that runs. Sorry once again for YouTube, if you guys are interested, I do have a gaming channel where all the games that I stream are going to be live over here on this channel. I have to split up the channel on YouTube because that's just how YouTube works. So on Tyra Tiffy, if you want art stuff, stick around, stay subscribed to this channel, and you will get more art videos. But if you want to hang out with me while I'm playing video games and just talk and just chat and all that other good stuff, then you can come check me out on Tyra Tiffy Games, where I'm playing video games and stuff, and that's on Mondays, by the way. So yes, all right, so now that we've got a lot of that stuff out of the way, what else do I want to talk about before we get started? No, I think that's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the main character designs. We'll start with the male main character. So when you're making a comic, right? And I don't have, hang on, let me put on my glove. I totally started a stream without my gloves. Okay, let's put my glove on so I can draw on this. Okay. So yeah, when you're doing a comic, you always want to make a character sheet, okay? You always want to be able to reference your character. So and that's something that I've learned down the line. Now, if you look up anything about making comics, people are going to tell you, all the time, yeah, make a character sheet, so you can reference and stuff like that. And it makes sense. And, I'm kind of not smart in the way where I hear it. I think it's good advice, but I don't actually do it for myself. That's a step that I decided to skip. So I did that with Reborn Daughter, and, I've felt the ramifications of that. And, if you read Reborn Daughter, you'll probably notice that there are a lot of moments where the characters don't look consistent. They look very different here and there, depending on the episode that you're reading it on. And that's what happens when you when you don't make a character reference sheet, which encapsulates all of the decisions that you made for the character design. And, it's a good way to remind you of all those decisions. Because what happens is that when you're learning, because even though I was making the comic, I'm still learning how to draw, and improve, and learning different techniques, right? And seeing if I like it or not. So the thing is that when you're doing that, you're just doing so much to your brain, you know? There's just so much that you're adding. So, and it's just like it's hard for your brain to just kind of remember a few things. So while I was learning new techniques, a lot of that stuff just kind of stuck with me. So when I went to draw the comic, and you know, normally when you're drawing comics, you want to be very quick. You want to be, you know, like you definitely want to manage your time well, but you also don't want the art to be bad. But you kind of rely on your muscle memory, right? You kind of said, you know, you'll draw a character and you'll be like, oh, I want the character to, you know, be in this position and the head's going to be rotated this way, so I'm just going to, you know, draw it, you know, and blah 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 blah. But the thing is that when you're you know, trying to get things done within a specific time, you kind of rely on your imagination. And you know, that's essentially what you want to do when you're working on a comic. You want to draw from imagination, and when you're doing that, you're relying on a lot of, you know, your prior knowledge, I guess I would say, or whatever your portfolio in your head looks like from the things that you've drawn. So, you know, and what ends up happening is that sometimes that stuff gets jumbled up. So, you know, this is why it's important to create a character sheet, so that way, when you do work on it, you know, you have something in your folder that you can just click on very easily. Don't even need internet, right? Because it's in your own files, and you just look at it and you remind yourself, oh yeah, you know, I made the jaw this long. Oh wait, I made the eye this small. Oh yeah, that's right. The shape of the head is like this, right? So all that stuff's important. And that's why you should make a character sheet, especially for your main characters, especially for the characters. Like, don't make a character sheet for every single character, I guess, like right off the bat. If you have the time and if you want to do that, then sure, go ahead. But at least the minimum, just make a character sheet for the main characters that your readers are going to be seeing all of the time. Okay. So, you know, that being said, when it comes to a romance story, right, you've got two characters who are trying to make fall in love, right, or be together by the end of the story. So you definitely want to make a character sheet for both of those characters. So we've got so right here on the screen, we've got the one for the male, and you know, I only have one close up of the head. I'm gonna do expression profiles later, or bust, I would say, like the expression busts. I'll do that another time, but at least within the week, this is what I got so far. And I only did one head because we've got an important detail on this character that we got to look at close up for reference. And with the positions that I've put him in on the whole body picture, you know, it's really hard to, you know, well, I didn't put his head in a position where we can see it, but I did that on purpose because I knew I was going to draw in a large close-up version where we see the side of his head and we get this part of the haircut that's on his head. Okay, so so we did that. Now, but you do want to make bust expressions for your characters to kind of remind yourself what those characters look like when they're moving towards specific expressions, right? And these are things you want to flesh out and think about before you start your comic. Okay, so a lot of prep work is necessary, and once again, I highly recommend you do your prep work. I know you want to just jump in and draw the comic because that's how I am. I just want to jump in and do it and then fix things as I go. But the thing is that, you know, let's say you do create a comic series and you do create a story and people like it, and then people are waiting for you to make more, then now you're kind of like, you know, by your own audience, you're kind of pressed for time, right? And people are waiting for you to make stuff. And, you know, maybe it's not in your best interest to spend a lot of time to do all the prep work after you've already done it, right? So if you do all the prep work before you even start, then you're in a good position and you can keep creating, okay? So let's go ahead and go to the female character. Now, I don't have names for them yet, but, you know, this is the design for the female lead. And if you were here last week, you know, you saw the, you know, early productions of coming up with design. But, you know, last week I did the male first and then we did the female second, but I kind of did that at the end of the stream. We didn't get a lot of headshots in, but you know, overall, as I worked on it, this is the result. So, and as you can see here, she's got a couple of more things on her character sheet versus the male lead, right? So the male, maybe I should draw the male lead with his fennel shirt closed. Okay, but she's got, you know, in the body shot, she's got the cardigan open so we can see what's under it. But then I also have like a cardigan closed picture as well for reference on the side over here. You know, she's got plenty of details that we need to see from the back as well as the front. And you know, and now on the bottom right, we've got all the bust expressions, right? So we have an idea of how she looks when, you know, she's got specific expressions on. Now I do got to fix the one on the bottom left because I made her look a bit more mature, but this is why these things are pretty important. So that way you can draw it and then you look at it and you're like, okay, where's the inconsistency, right? Where are the details where I gotta be a bit more consistent, right? And you know, and you also get to look at the character details that you've added for them, right? Like for her, she's got like this is her neutral face. So she's kind of got this gap in her lip, and that was a design choice that I made on purpose, right? But you know, that's something I need to think about when I'm doing different expressions for her, to just kind of remind myself that there's a little gap there. See, and we even see it over here on the body shot as well. There's like a little gap in her mouth. So yes. All right, so you know, so there she is, and then we've got once again the male one. So we've already done the character sheets. Now we got to move on. You know, so now I'm gonna move on to some other things, right? And again, a lot of this stuff is not final. This is just I'm just getting started on it. So things are subject to change down the line if I decide to. But for today, let's go ahead and get started on doing the draft for the titles. So now when you're making a series, right, you're going to have a title for it, of course. And part of it is that you have to kind of design your title as well. Now you can do it yourself. I'm a very do-it-yourself type of person. So I like to do everything myself, even if I'm bad at it. So, you know, if you probably see some of my streams before, you probably heard me complain that I'm very terrible when it comes to designing text or with words and just in general. So like, you know, designing titles, it's like my least favorite part of the process, but you know, but I like to do it myself. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. I'm not expecting it to look great, but you know, that's not going to discourage me from trying. So we're going to give it a try. We're going to come up with some designs for the title. Now the title is called, and I'm pretty sure I want to call it this. It's going to be called 5 Shooting Stars. Okay. That's going to be the title. So now we got to take all these letters and just figure out how we can mess around and play with them to make it look visually appealing. Now there's a couple of notes we want to take down first though. First is the most important note. Here's the most important note. When you're doing a webcomic, right? Sometimes you may want to decide to make a physical version, right? That's something a lot of artists think about when they're making it. Some artists decide, nah, it's just gonna be a web only comic and I'm never gonna make it on or print it on paper. And you know, that's completely fine. So, and if you've decided that, then this part is not so important. But if you're in the middle, like me, because this is I'm intentionally making it for the web, but you know, I kind of want the option to also, you know, print out the book, right? So, or if you know for a fact that you definitely want to make a book version of it, or if you're not making a webcomic at all and you're making a physical comic book, then when you're thinking about creating the title, then you want to design it in a way where you can fit the title on the spine of the book. Okay. Because let's say I designed right here, right? And then I made like a big freaking star here or something. And then, I've added all these lines and swirls and I made it look very pretty, right? Let's say we designed it like that. Then it's like, okay, well, how am I going to fit all this on the side, on the spine of the book? Like all the graphics. How do all the graphics apply over here on the spine, right? Now, you can make two different versions. You can make a version like this that's only for the front, or you reuse this for the webcomic. And then when you do make the book, you just make like maybe a condensed version, and maybe it'll just be like a smaller visual, right? And then you'll just write it off with like a different font or something. That's totally an option too. But I like to to preserve the graphics and the ideas, so that way I can convert it into a spine, if that makes sense. Hey, what's up, Mo? Yeah, looking like I mean, it's a serious time. It's a serious time. It's always serious. Let me stop. Um, but yeah, hey, welcome to another art stream, my boy. How we doing? Today, I'm just going over designing titles and world building because I am working on a brand new comic series for a comic contest. And I've got about a month and a half left now to finish it. So it's crunch time, baby. We got lots of work to do. So yeah, but otherwise, I'm doing great. My stomach's feeling better. Uh, I've seen some doctors. They're gonna take a look at me, but other than that, I think I'm doing fine. Hopefully, I don't get any more medical setbacks down the line, and I can just focus on the comic. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully. Um, yeah, we're doing great. We got some work to do, and I'm doing. And right now, today, I'm streaming the worst part of the process for me, which is designing the title. So there are a lot of ways we can go about this. But, I will admit my creativity is very, very limited when it comes to words. This is not something I work with all the time. So, if any, I'm totally open to anybody else having ideas, honestly. Because, that would be great. That would help me out. Okay, so with that being said, let's keep in mind that the design has to fit. We have to be able to convert the design in a horizontal way, or vertical. I'm sorry, vertical in a vertical way, right? Actually, no, horizontal would be better because yeah, we'll be looking this way on the book. But yeah, we got to be able to convert it. So, like immediately when I'm thinking like condensing, the first idea I had was the 5 looks like an S, right? So I was thinking about acronyms, but I mean that can be good for like a design for like an icon, right? Or such, but we do need to spell it out. But this would probably be like a good idea for like for like marketing products, but I don't know. Might have to pass on that. What happened? What's up, Mo? What about the number 5? Do you have an idea? Is that what this is? Just gonna make 2 Doritos, and then we have a star. I think I want the font to be like scripted. What if we did that, right? So here's an idea. We can create a little like an arc here. Have the direction going down like that. And if we do that, we can create some kind of graphic that follows that line. So here's the thing. You always want to get all your ideas out, even the bad ones, even the ones that you think are not good. It's always worth putting it down because at least you know you thought of it. So I don't think this will be that great, but just something, just something to consider, right? What type of atmosphere is the comic? Good question. Actually, before I answer that question, let's talk about that real quick. Um, so of course, your title design should definitely reflect, the actual. There's gonna be a mirror. Should definitely reflect the actual story of, of the comic, right? Of the story, right? So you can actually use elements of your story to design your comic. So, what type of atmosphere is a good question because as the title is supposed to give an impression, right? And we're supposed to help the consumer understand, what they're getting into, right? What kind of story they're getting into. But yeah, so this is gonna be another romance genre. So that's the type of atmosphere we have going on here. So when we're thinking of like romance, that's why I'm thinking of scripted font, like a scripted font, because that kind of makes sense to me. That's a font you typically see in like stories that are based off like royalty, maybe, right, or something that has like a hint of elegance, right? Oh, let me turn the music back on, by the way. Because there's gonna be a lot of thinking and it's gonna be a lot of me being quiet. So that's it. Okay. What's up? A fancy, elegant English font with a rose as an A. It would look something like I mean, sheesh, we could even design the 5, right? Maybe the 5 could be Lincoln 2 or something like that, right? Okay, maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Alright, so 5. Stars. We're gonna have another, right? But then this and DA will be a rose. But I mean, what's the point? Why are we making, and I'm not knocking the design idea, but when you're doing this stuff, you want to question yourself, right? Like, why do we have this, and why are certain parts of the story okay, yeah, why are certain parts of the story well, not the story, why certain parts of the design, why do they exist, right? So I think a rose definitely gives an impression of like love and romance. But I also feel like we can get through it without the rose. Now instead of having one star, we can make multiple stars, right? Why don't we break that down? We can even play with the fonts for a bit, right? And we should follow that rhythm. Put the 5 behind everything else. And we can take the star and put it on the 5. I should put like a thinking Hmm. How else? Hey, welcome back. I'm not sure if you heard what I said about the rose thing, but you know, I think the rose is a great visual indicator that it's a romance title. But I also don't think it's necessary, as like there are other ways to give that indication. I like, for example, I think the elegance in the font already gives us that impression. You know, and instead of adding a whole flower, we can always add, I mean, like, I don't know. We'll stay open to the idea, because I was thinking, you know, we could always add like petals, right? We can add like a vine or something. You know, but it's more shape than anything. So let's see, if I took a diamond, right? Not a diamond, but if I took like a triangle, how can I make a title using a triangle? I mean, we can literally have shooting star go up and down with the number 5 in the middle. And we use hierarchy here. So even though we read from left to right, we see the number 5 first. Maybe, probably. I don't know. I mean, it could work. I could think of it like that. You know, and this would be more of a box, right? Well, this will be just a big box. It's, you know, we've got a direction here. Actually, this was more boxed. This will be like a semicircle more than anything. What if we did a shape like this? So you can make them connect as the garden chair at the side of the moving one. You can make them connect as the garden chair and the star at the side. I'm not following that one. You mean this one? Because at this point, I'm not sure which design you're talking about. You're thinking like a fancy design? Well, we don't want to be too fancy, right? Because, you know, even though it is romance, it's not, you know, my characters aren't like princesses and princes, right? There's no king or queens, which I think is appropriate for titles like that. You know, we definitely want to make it super fancy if there's like some kind of rich or some novelty of some sort, right, being involved. Um, but no, these are just two very young teenagers doing their best. See, shooting on top attached with veins to shooting. Question mark? All right, shooting. So put shooting on the top and then attach it with veins. But then if we're attached... Okay, oh, to stars. Okay. And by veins, I think you're talking about like leaf? Like a vine? I think vines will be better, right? Is this what that's what you were going with here? And then we can put the 5 next to everything. Sort of? Okay. Okay, well that's an idea. Unless you meant actual veins, but I wouldn't see how veins would be very helpful or related to the design at all. But alright, but we got another one here, and you like the idea of like elegance, so you know maybe we can. So I just kind of played around with this 5 a bit. You can get another line out of here. I don't know. Maybe we can split this one here. Yeah, sure. Okay, what else can we do? So I looked at some other shapes. We could still do the diamond again, but maybe we can do like a rising. We could do the diamond like this. Let's take it and let's put it over here. And all this space over here gets filled up with so we still kept the diamond. We still kept the diamond shape, but you know, we have these little. We have this arc now, and it creates the diamond, and we can still read the text here. Now let's remove some of the visuals for a bit here. And let's just kind of focus on the text now. Because maybe, you know, we can possibly make a design that doesn't involve any kind of like artwork, right? We could instead play with the words and the way the font is, and we can create a title like that. So how about let's take inspiration off the main character here, right? And let's use this. Actually, wait, let's not draw a moon, right? But rather, we're supposed to make it look like a haircut. You're out of paper? And it's all cool. We tried, we tried. I'm sure I had a punch extra, but looks like I need to go to Staples. Staples. I mean, you can never have too many paper. Nah, I'm gonna stop. You can't have too much paper. For sure. Is it possible to make a straight line? I wonder. I don't know why, but adding the little cloud stuff makes it reminds me of the flying Nimbus. Okay. Okay, well, that was an idea. Let's see, what else can we come up with? But if we used the setting of the story here, does take place in the city. Oh, actually, this could work. We can make it look like constellations. Let's actually take that idea, make it blue. We can do something like Give it some stability. Uh, Okay. What else? What else can we do? Okay, we're gonna give it 30 more minutes, and then we'll move on to the next part of the stream, which will be like world building. But like now at this point, I'm playing with the idea that we stop using the number 5, and we're spelling out the word 5, and then using that as a tool to create visuals. Welcome back. Oh. Did you get paper, Mo? Sorry, I had a phone call. You didn't go to Staples. Oh, I'm over here thinking you want a Staples. You want a Staples? Alright, well, you know, I'm gonna be here for 20 more minutes for title design, and then we can move on to world building. But I just wanted to spend some time coming up with ideas of how the title's gonna look. Let's try to know the era first, then get more ideas. What do you mean era? Like the time? It's definitely modern. I typically don't work with stories that take place in the past. How modern? I mean, modern. I don't know how modern's gonna get. Like if this story happened today. don't know where I was going with this. But it's fine. We got it out my head. First time I am out of ideas. That's alright. We're cooking right now. It's all part of the cooking process, you know? Sometimes we gotta do things that we're not used to doing, right? I remember seeing something like this before. I'm more of dark and light themes, not a romantic. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, who knows? Maybe a little spice of dark and light could add something entirely new to a design that's typically tend for romance. Because what ends up happening is that you have whatchamacallits, you know, you get your tropes even with designs. So like there are commonly used characteristics, and you know, you could do the comfortable thing and use it in your design, or you could do the uncomfortable thing and do something different, right? Something that maybe, and that's what leads us to discovering new kinds of designs. But I digress. Oh, looks like somebody's popular today. Someone called the doctor. What Blush Star should be here. I gotta go. Good luck. Alright, Mo. Thanks for popping by. Good to see you again. And yeah, thanks for pitching in and being a part of this process. And I'll see you next time. Alright? Stay safe. Stay healthy. Hmm. Mm. A little heart pattern. What if we did a heart? A heart. And then let's put the star in it. You know what? The star looks weird, but we're gonna keep it. I should just leave this star and stuff. And actually, we can make the 5 bigger here. Make it more stable. What if we took out the heart? What if we put the heart inside the star instead of putting the heart outside the star? Ah. Alright. Well, that's gonna be it for the title. Came with a couple of ideas, a lot of brainstorming, but overall, I'm gonna have to ultimately decide on one. So let's take a look at them again real quick. Okay. So, for those of you watching the video, right, in the future, not right now. I mean, or if you're watching right now, you can participate too. But yeah, go ahead and comment on which one's your favorite. Which design you think I should have moved forward with, because by the time you're watching this, I probably have already decided on the design. But you know, I think it's always fun to look at how things came to be. So you're getting a look of how the thought process was when I came about to creating the title. And yeah, just comment below which one was your favorite. And if you found this whole brainstorming session very useful, very inspiring, you know, found some value into this content, then, you know, drop a like. We very much appreciate that. And, you know, other people will be able to find the video as well, and they're going to appreciate that, you know, you helped me boost up this video on the algorithm. So, we're going to go ahead and move on to world building. And I'm actually going to use something that I've learned from Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto. But before I get into that, I just got to run to the bathroom real quick. So give me like, I'm going to hit my slideshow up, be right back. Give me like 5 minutes actually. Let me give myself 5 minutes to just reset my brain. Okay? So yeah, enjoy the previous artwork and some chill music, and I'll just be back really quickly. Hmm. Okay, so world building. All right, so long ago, when I was but a wee child, there was a time that I have read something very valuable in my Shonen Jump. I don't know why I'm talking like an old man. Anyways, no, but yeah, so years ago actually, when I was still receiving paper Shonen Jump, you know, there's always like an author section at the end of Shonen Jump where the author of, you know, certain mangas would talk about their process or what did they do in their workflow, how did they come to the creation of the characters that they created and whatnot. And I specifically, now, okay, before I go into this, right? Before I go into this, let me just say that I'm going off of memory. I don't know this for sure. This is not 100% true, okay? I may be wrong. But what I remembered was, I remember very specifically reading about world building from the creator of Naruto, and he was talking about how when he was developing the anime, right, or the manga, I'm sorry, the manga, right? When he was developing the manga, you know, he made, you know, Naruto, right? And then he's like, oh yeah, you know, Naruto, he made Naruto first, right? And then after that, he said, okay, well, Naruto needs, I can't remember if, okay, I can't remember if this is the specific order. Like, okay, I know Sakura was last in this, but the first two is the order that I don't remember too well. But I know that, and I don't remember the reason why, but Iruka was the first character that he made, right? Did Iruka first. And I forgot why. He had a reason for making Iruka. I don't remember if it was because he needed a father figure, or if he needed, Naruto needed somebody to believe in him. Or it was, or it was because he was a teacher. It's one of those three. I can't remember for sure. But I know that Iruka was, I remember that Iruka was the first person on that page when I read it. And then after Iruka, he said, you know, all right, well, Naruto lives in a village, and the village needs a leader, right? So he made Hiruzen, the third Hokage, right? He made that dude, right? So he made the third Hokage, and then he said that Naruto needed like a mentor. So then after that, you know, he made Kakashi, right? And then after Kakashi, he said, well, Naruto needs a rival, somebody that's gonna keep him to, you know, compete with him. So Naruto is always gonna do his best. He has somebody to compare himself to that's gonna drive him to, you know, become even stronger. And then he came up with Sasuke next, right? And then after Sasuke, he's like, okay, well, you know, Naruto needs you know, like a love interest or something, right? And then came Sakura, right? And then that was it. I know Sakura was the last one, but he was just pretty much explaining that when you're world building, When you're creating the characters, each character has to have a reason to exist, and it all has to relate to your main character. Okay, so for me as a kid, that was a very valuable lesson, so I'm sharing that with you guys. I'm pretty sure you can find this out online if you weren't aware about it, but so this is not 100% true, because I don't know if I remember correctly. This is just me going off of memory, so I'm not claiming this is 100% true, but something along these lines. Okay, and it was on Shonen Jump. You should be able to find it online. So there's that. If you're really interested, I would highly suggest you look it up. But that was, a valuable thing that he shared. And that was something that I read, and that's something that I still somewhat remember to this day. And when I'm world building, that's something I always keep in mind. I think about the main character, and I create people based on the story and what that character needs for the story, right? And it just makes sense when you think about it like that. Like what are the, it's like you're cooking a meal. It's like, all right, well, what are the ingredients to make a good story, right? And I know, at least for shonen, there's always some kind of teacher involved. There's always a rival involved. I know that they don't like it when there's a romantic interest, and the main character actually gets involved with that romantic interest throughout, at some point in the middle of the story. They typically save it for the end. But the whole point is a romantic character necessary? Yeah, I don't think so. It adds to the story, sure, but is it necessary? But now I'm just trying to think of a shonen when there was no romantic interest. I don't know, maybe it is necessary. There's just not a lot of datum. I don't know. But go ahead and let's just draw the characters. Draw them really quickly here. Okay. Okay, so alright, so we've got the two MCs, right? I made one head bigger than the other. Alright. Now the two MCs. Now let's go ahead and think about, you know, what do these characters need, right? And how do we build the world? So it's so primarily where the story is written right now. I actually have no other characters involved, which is why we're going to go through this process today, as you know, I need to take this stuff into consideration, because at the end we're going to have several characters involved. At least that's how I put it in my head. But let's take it step by step and think about who's necessary and who's not necessary, right? Because what you don't want to do is create a whole bunch of characters that don't matter. Okay, now I'll go ahead and let's write it down. Don't make characters that don't matter, which is probably a really mean way to say it, but I could probably phrase that better. But what I mean is, don't make characters that don't matter to the story, right? Actually, it's like that. To the story. Okay. So for example, right, I had a lot of friends look at some previous works that I've done, and they ask questions like, oh, could you make a version of me in your story? Oh, could you make a version of this person in this story, right? Oh, make a character that's inspired off of me, right? And these are things that I've heard from friends before, right? And the thing I always tell them is this exact thing, and it's just like, hey, listen, I get that you want to be a part of my story, and I get you want to be involved, and it's really cool to have me design a character after you and all that stuff, all that good stuff. But the problem is that I can't just put people in the story that are irrelevant, that don't matter to the story, that don't push the plot forward. There's no so I can't just add characters for no reason. Okay? Characters that don't matter. If I've already started like a comic, right? That means I've already gone through this part here where I've thought about and designed all the necessary characters that are required in the story to a point where, there's no room for me to add more characters. Unless, like, you want to be like a background character or something. But yeah, so that's something that I've been told as I was, learning how to put all this stuff together is, common mistake that happens, especially with beginners, is that they make way too many unnecessary characters and they try to fit them all into the story, and then, it hurts your story because, we're just keeping track of too many people, or there's just too many people involved. So you're designing, so when you're world building, you're creating characters that make sense and characters that are involved in the plot. Okay, so first and foremost, that being said, let's go ahead and move and come up with some characters. Now, of course, I'm not going to draw any characters because we're just now coming up with them, but we've got titles, right? So, for example, do these characters need siblings? Siblings? Do they need them? And I'm thinking, no. I actually think, considering where the story is, what the story is about, which, I haven't really talked about on this channel yet, but okay, I'll talk more about it later at another time. But considering what it's about, and this is just me thinking out loud, it makes no sense for them to have siblings. It benefits the story more if they're both, only childs, right? If they have no siblings, or if they were to have a sibling, then it's gonna be a little Google baby. Gotta be a baby. Gotta be like a baby brother or sister or something, or maybe it, right? A sibling that is just not old enough to participate. But if that's the case, if I'm just gonna create a character for that reason, then we come back to this. Don't make characters that don't matter, right? So why the heck would I make a baby just for the sake of saying this character has a sibling, right? Unless, again, that has something to do with the story. It can be a driving motivation factor. So if you wanted to make, let's go ahead and redo that. If you wanted to make a baby sibling, like, let's say this is her sibling, right? And she's like, oh, I have dreams and they relate to my baby sister, right? And that's like her motivation. Then there's a reason why this baby exists in your story. You have a reason, and it's justified. And there you go. Like, sure, even if it's small like that, I would say we want to focus on bigger things, right? Like the issues in your story. But if that's something you want to do, sure. But let's go ahead and delete that, right? But speaking of siblings and family members, no matter what, they're gonna have parents. So parents, well, or maybe not. I mean, if you think about Naruto, he did have parents, but they were, they're not around, right? So, do we need to include parents in this story? And the answer is yes, actually. And I actually can't tell you why, but but I will say it's related to their age, and something has to happen in the story, and the story is related to the real world, so it's not a magical world where our IRL rules don't apply. So that's something to consider. So because that's something to consider, we might want to be practical about the actual real life rules. And something needs to be done, but a parent has to be involved. So yes, there has to be at least one parent. Wait, no, other way around. Oh no, I can't do math anymore. Is this greater than or equal to, or is this less than or equal to? Okay. This is less than or equal to. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Just had to make sure. All right. So yeah. If we want, we need parents. It has to be at least one. We're gonna say both parents here. We're gonna say one parent here. And now we gotta figure out, okay, well, we got one parent, right? So which one is it? You know what? I guess mom would make the most sense. Because father-wise, I think having a father would hurt the plot. Just because there's, you know, when I try to think about it logically, it's like, well, why would the character do this if the father is present? Or why would the character make this mistake when, you know, unless I decide to put this as father. And then just make it so that they have a bad relationship, but I don't want to do that in my story, actually. I think we need a good relationship between parent and child, especially when it's one parent. So, yeah, I think mom is better. Okay, let's move on to do we need friends? Because it's not a shonen, right? So we don't need a teacher, right? We don't need like a mentor. You know, and you know, they are each other's romantic interest, so you know, we've already got that out the way. So do we need friends? We're gonna say no for the male lead. No friends. We will give her a best friend. Best friend forever. Okay. Now, do we need rivals? So, a rival is gonna be that character that's going to get in the way, right? And then we make that, you know, the also famous love triangle. But I just can't see it. I really thinking away of how I designed the story and where it goes and how these characters' relations are with each other, it makes no sense for a third person to come in and get in the way. How do I describe it? Okay, like, this is, she's into him, right? He does not reciprocate that. He's not into her. As a matter of fact, this character wants to be by themselves, alone. So if he has no interest in anyone, which is why he has no friends, right? It makes no sense for a rival, because we can't have two girls liking the male lead, because he'll deflect the other girl too. It'd be one of those silly love triangles where the male character just doesn't care about either of them, and they're both fighting for his attention, which is not where we want the story to go. And now, the thing is that since she's the one who's into him, it makes no sense for another guy to be into her, right? Because otherwise this character gets what he wants. So the only sense in making a rival character here would be if we go down the path of, I really like you, and he's like, no. And then this repeats, I like you, no, no, no. And then, okay, I give up and I'm gonna be with this guy. And then we do the whole, oh, actually, I don't want to be alone anymore. I actually like you back. And now I have to get you back from this guy who's stealing you from me. It's like, that's where the route is gonna go. But, 5 Shooting Stars is a story about, I guess I might as well talk about the concept, but since I'm here. But yeah, 5 Shooting Stars is a story about these two characters where, the girl, they make a bet. They make a bet because she likes him, he doesn't like her, and she makes a bet with him and says that, if we see 5 shooting stars together within X amount of days, and I say X because I'm still writing the story, I'm still trying to figure out how many days exactly it's gonna be, but there is gonna be a time limit. But they have to see 5 shooting stars together. It doesn't count if one person saw it and the other person did not see the star. Okay, that's the rules that we set. But yeah, if they see 5 shooting stars together and by X amount of days, then they are together. This guy is just gonna have to accept that he's gonna be her boyfriend, right? Yeah, and that's pretty much the concept of the story. And what does he get out of it? He gets to disappear. Because he wants to be alone. So, but when you like somebody who wants to be alone, you can do the healthy thing and respect that, or you can do the very selfish thing and just be like, no, I don't want you to be alone. If you want to be alone with me. Be with me. But anyways, sorry, I'm just laughing about my own situation in the story. But yeah, so so that's pretty much where that is. So in the discussion of rivals, there's just no room for a love triangle here, unless we do that other thing I did. But then it's just kind of like, why have it so that somebody else gets involved when if she leaves him for another guy, he gets what he wants, right? Because that's the whole point of the bet. So it just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to have a rival involved. Okay, so we've got 2 characters here, 1 character here so far. Let's keep brainstorming. What else do we need? Because it's okay. So I specifically designed the story around, you know, just these 2, and I really mean I designed it around these 2. Like, we're gonna see just these 2 most of the story. So that's why I'm struggling a little right now, because it's like, okay, well, I concentrated on these guys so hard, I can't think of anybody else I could add into the story. I mean, like, in the end, I want all the characters involved to be a part of what happens in the end. But in my head, that's all empty slots. It's like a whole bunch of, think of like we're in a room, and I see chairs in the room, but only like 3 people right now are sitting on those chairs, and we got a lot of empty seats, and I'm just like, all right, I need to fill these seats up, but I don't. Who do I invite? Who do I invite? Who do I make? Right? And I also realized I never drew for eyebrow. So for eyebrow. So we went through friends, we went through parents, rivals. They are each other's love interests, teachers. Teachers or mentors, people who want to help these characters develop. So I need that. We need that. No, I don't think I need that. I don't think we need a teacher. Okay, well, they both go to a school, right? Both go to a school. Well, okay, well, he used to go to a school. He's not going to school anymore. She's still going to school. She's got her friend from school. School has a principal and faculty. Do I want to make a character that represents the school? And I guess that just comes down to how often is the school involved, which is like, honestly, not really. Like, it exists. Are we gonna see her on, you know, in the school? Yeah, we're gonna see her at school. We're gonna see her talking with her best friend. Because these two are never gonna be in the same room as these two. We're definitely gonna be at the school, but dude, I don't think I need to make a principal or, you know, if there's a faculty member, then, you know, like a teacher or like a nurse or something. Actually, hold on. Yeah, nurse. School nurse. Right? Okay, we're gonna do that actually. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so. Alright, so for school, we got a school nurse. Let me put school nurse. A school nurse. Right. Okay. I can do a lot with this character actually, thinking about the story. So we're gonna write that down. Okay, what else? This takes place in New York City. Do I need a character for New York City that's related to the city? Maybe somebody from a corner store. Or are they taking the subway? Is that an MTA employee? Maybe it's a police officer. If I want to make this very dramatic, maybe we want to include a police officer. Nah. I don't think we need anybody from the city to get involved in this story. Alright, what's next? Let's think. Past relationships. This just adds, like, you know, that trauma from previous relationships that get in the way in the development process of the two characters. But you know, again, with the nature of their romance, it just doesn't apply. I just don't see it. Can't think of any other angles to go in. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we're done. I think that's enough cooking for today. Like, again, we don't want to come up with like unnecessary characters, so I'm really thinking about who can I include that will drive the plot forward, right? Who is getting involved in the plot? School nurse, I can see getting involved in the plot and moving it forward. As a, you know, this can be a reoccurring character. Both parents, definitely gonna be reoccurring characters. The best friend, a reoccurring character. Okay, that does the best friend move the plot forward? That's gonna be questionable, but it's still a tool I can use. I can't give you a reason why. You know, I've decided to put this in. I mean, like, I just feel like she needs a friend. She needs the friend because she's the one that's giving her heart out to a guy and he's not reciprocating it back, and she needs somebody to talk to about that, right? That's my main reason. But does it drive the plot forward? In a way that it keeps her motivated. But, you know, I have a feeling I'm gonna make some good use of this character regardless. And yeah, having one parent is essential. We can't have this character live on his own. But there's going to be a parent. They both need a parent. That is essential. This is going to be a recurring character for sure. But definitely, yeah, no friends at all. I'm very confident in this decision. You know, but hey, a lot of things are still up in the air. I can always just make up a friend out of nowhere for the convenience of the plot if the plot calls for it. But you know, in terms of like the New York City characters, the school characters, right? Or any characters in their past, most likely gonna be like, you know, one or twice. Why did I write twice? I don't know. Characters that we're gonna probably see one or twice in the story, and then that's gonna be it. And you know, stuff like that is like, I'll just do it on the fly, you know. Which I know it's a pretty confident thing to say, but that's just kind of how I guess how I operate and how I work. You know, if I run into the problem, I'm just gonna deal with the problem. Um, so yeah, um, so that's gonna be it for the world building right now. And this was very different for me. Now, when we think about Reborn Daughter, right? The world building was very different because I've got on screen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 characters, but when I was doing this exercise on this story, there's a lot of necessary characters that were needed, right? We had, there's the daughter, of course, and there's the father, right? So we started with the father, and then of course that automatically comes with the daughter, and then he's living by himself, so he needs to work, so we need a boss, and then we've got boss in the back plus co-worker. He needed a best friend, so we've got Charlotte. That was the best friend character. And then I also needed a childhood friend, somebody that he grew up with, because there are a lot of things about this character's past that gets involved with the story. So we need somebody from the past to reference all of those characteristics and all those moments and those memories. So we have Lepa, which is the one in purple behind him. And that's pretty much why she exists in the story, right? So we have a story from his character from his past, childhood friend. We've got the best friend, Charlotte, which is the brunette. The blonde girl is his boss. Now Siru was okay. We're gonna take Siru out. Siru is the little girl in the middle, but then we also knew that he was going to college, right? And he needs to, graduate, get a good job, make a lot of money. That's pretty much the idea. So I created a character, like a classmate, to be involved with for the plot of the story. And I made Victoria. So, so when I went through this process with Reborn Daughter, right? I've made 1, 2, 3, 4 characters right off the bat. These are all necessary characters in the story. They also double as, potential love interest, which is why when I spoke about earlier, that this story breaks a lot of rules. That's one of the rules that romance stories typically have. You want it to be concentrated on just 2 people, and that's it. The 2 people who are supposed to love each other, and then that's it. But in this story, we don't know who the lover is. That's a mystery. So I have to break that rule. We can't concentrate on 2 people. So now I have to create multiple options, right? And then that's the fun of reading the story, because you're going through the storyline trying to guess, who ends up being the one that is the mother of the daughter. So, and then not only that, but, these 4 characters were not also, it branched out to more, because obviously we need a parent, right? I made the mom, and then we also know that he has siblings, which is also very important because, gender politics play a big role in this story. And, the brothers represent what I would like to say, the 2 bad sides of masculinity. Anyways, you get what I'm trying to say. So I needed both brothers to represent both those bad sides of it, and then I created his brothers, and then he also needs like a mentor, right, or someone to teach him how to get through life, right? That is actually, that was a necessary part of the story, because he's going to be a father and he doesn't have a father, and he needs some kind of guidance, right? And then I created the grandfather. And then what else we got? I know there's another character that I made. Trying to think. No, actually no, I think the grandfather was the last one. Yeah, so then Yeah, that's everybody. All right, so that's pretty much most of the cast. So this exercise, this world building exercise that I did, that's how it went with Reborn Daughter. And these were all the necessary characters that I needed for the story. Now let's talk about Siru real quick. So Siru is the little girl in the middle. She was not a character that I made when I did this exercise. So she's technically not an important character. But when I created where he works, and I created Boss there, and then I created Will there, the main character there. But then, when I think about being at the workplace, right? There's always like, this is not everybody's experience, right? So, but I would like to say, especially, in New York, most of us, we go to work and there's like at least one person we like, and not like romantically. I mean, like, there's just one person we like hanging out with. It makes getting through the workday a lot easier. It's your work friend. You know what I'm saying? So, Will does come to work. Will does, vent to and talk to his boss, and the boss treats her employee very, very well. And that's the relationship they have in the story. But, I just thought it would be fun to just have a work buddy involved in the story. And then I made Siru and Ego, right? Which are the two co-workers in the story. Which are, they're just, I made them because so here's the thing, they don't drive the plot forward, but they exist to make that certain location feel a bit more real, feel a bit more relatable. So, that's how that started. And then somewhere down the line, I actually came up with like a reason. I can't really say it because obviously it's a spoiler. We're not there yet, but there's a reason for Siru now to exist now, is what I'm saying. During the development process of the story, there was something that I needed, and Siru actually fit the role to be that character that I needed for that part of the story. So, all that came about writing out the story before I even started drawing the comic. Okay, and that's why I wanted to bring up Siru's existence, because I think it's important to really understand that a lot of prep work is necessary. I want to say necessary. Like obviously it's optional, but I really think you should do some preparation work, because this is how you create the world that your story exists in, because you sat down and you put some time to think about how all of these little strings are connected to each other and how everything is relevant. So when people actually do consume and read your story, you get those comments like, oh wow, like, I had no idea that this one little thing that happened in episode 4 happens like in episode 24, right? 10 episodes later, it all came around. And how do you do that? Like, how did you figure that out, right? Yeah, because it's like the normal person would just always assume that we're just doing a lot of the stuff on the fly, but the truth is that a lot of the stuff goes on behind the scenes before it even starts. It's already planned out. It's not just something we just decided to do out of nowhere. So if that's something you were unaware of, and that's something that you're and if this is something you're interested in doing, just keep that in mind. A lot of prep work does get involved. So yeah, do your prep work. Today we just did 2 exercises for it. We did some prep work for the title, right? We're figuring out how the title looks, and this is all part of like the design, because again, when you're writing your story, you have an idea of what's involved in your story, and you can use those elements for your title. Okay, and then we went into some world building. I'm not in a point in a story where I need more characters, but I will get there eventually, so I wanted to sit down and put some time into this. But I guess I got so hyper focused on the story just being about these two characters that I don't, compared to Reborn Daughter, I just don't have a lot of characters to work with, which is great. That's less character sheets for me because, woo, let me tell you, Reborn Daughter, I have so many character sheets. And that took a lot of time to make, but it's necessary for the comic. So there's that. And speaking of character sheets, oh, whoops, let's put this back down here. Speaking of character sheets, we've got the character sheets of the characters, which again is another important thing. If you don't want to don't make the same mistake as I did. Okay, I didn't make a character sheet. I figured I'm always gonna remember how these guys look like, but as I kept practicing drawing and learning new things, I kept accidentally applying it into my art when I was making the comic, just off of like physical, muscle memory, right? Because I'm sitting there and I'm drawing over and over and over these new techniques and these new ways to draw things, and then they just become muscle memory. And then when I draw the comic, it's like, oh, oops, I'm kind of subconsciously repeating what I was learning, right? So yeah, don't forget the character sheets. Don't forget to, if they have different outfits or if they wear clothes differently, draw that for yourself as well. Make it easier. Like, one reason why I wanted to draw this is because I just wanted this detail that she never puts the last button on her cardigan, okay? And then you've got the expressions. So, make sure you draw out the expressions so you have a good idea of how your character looks when they have specific, expressions to give, right? Because when we're drawing comics or media or anything of that sort, characters have emotions. So you got, and sometimes you stylize your character, you design it in ways where specific emotions look kind of differently, right? So, and let's look at, the lips is like a very big part of her. So it's like, we get to see how these little parts of her lips look like when she has certain expressions, right? One of her characteristics is having the gap in the middle of her lip. And then we kind of see that here when she's pouting, right? And we see the lip here again. Which again, this one I have to redo because she looks way too mature. I think I have to decrease her size of her head a bit more. Yeah. Probably gonna be that. But yeah. And then do a front and a back, at least, okay? In my Reborn Daughter character sheets, I have them fully rotated, so I do the front, the side, and the back. But for these characters, the design, not only the design is simple, but I don't really need the side. Well, okay, actually, I needed a side for this one, but it's only for his head, so I'm like, I might as well just do a bust. But then, seeing her back is important because we know that the tips of her hair on the bottom go back to this purple. Right? So, okay. Yeah, so that's gonna be it for this week. I'll be back next week. So no promises on, what the content is going to be next week. But hopefully, I will say that, let's actually go into the ending stream. I will say that hopefully by next Wednesday, I've already started drafting out the first episode, like the actual comic part. And then we can talk about that, and you guys can watch me put together the webcomic, from the sketching phase, right? I'm sketching out the comic, creating the panels, creating the expressions, following the script, that sort of thing. Hopefully we get there next week. It just really depends on, how things go this week. I don't want to make any promises because, life happens and I may end up having setbacks. But that's what I'm aiming for next week. Next week, I'm aiming to be ready to start drafting out the first episode because, well, and there is a time limit too. I got until May, right? Yeah, so we're already about to get to April. Next week will be April. So, I'm already like I got like a month and a half left, and I've got episodes to make. So, yeah. So hopefully, hopefully we're at that point. As usual, I'll be working hard. And speaking of working hard, don't forget, guys. As I always say at the end of the stream, okay, your efforts will never betray you. Okay, you put the effort into, what you want, what you like. You're gonna get those skills, and those are for you to keep. Okay, so just keep doing your best. Keep working towards, your dreams or your aspirations. And, you're gonna, I promise you, you're gonna really, really appreciate all of your efforts. And just having the skills that you have. Okay. So, oh, hey, what's up, Blue Ocean? That's right. You are late. Well, actually, no, you're not late. You're not late. I don't want to say you're late. I want to say you were almost late, because normally I end the stream at 8 o'clock, but here, and I'll go ahead and show you why I'm ending the stream. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, today what I did is I was showing you guys the new characters that I made for my new comic, and just the process of making characters, right? And why character sheets are important. So we've got 2 new characters that I made. And we've got their character sheets. And we also looked at how the title of this comic would be. So we got a couple of designs for the comic. And then we've also talked about world building, what characters are necessary for the story as you're building your story, and why you shouldn't make characters in your story that don't matter to the story. Okay, so and that was like the big takeaway from this part of the stream, because that's something that a lot of people do. They make characters like for the silliest reason, or just for no reason at all. Like, some people are like, oh yeah, I just wanted to put my friend in my story, so this is my friend, and that character is not doing anything productive for the plot at all. Okay, and that is a mistake. So, don't do that. But yeah, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, hey, good to hear from you again, Blue Ocean. It's been a while. I hope everything is going well. I hope school's going well. Okay. Remember to do your best. And always be kind to others, guys. All right. But that was pretty much our stream today. So the reason why I ended early is because I wanted to do the world building part. And sit here for like an hour and work on that, but I stumped myself because the story is just so focused on the 2 main characters, the girl and the boy, because it's another love story that I'm making, and the story is fully concentrated on these 2 characters just falling in love, and I didn't give myself enough room to just create other characters to get involved with the story, so that ended up being a lot faster than I thought it'd be, honestly. So, I'm just about ready to wrap it up for today's stream. But that's what the content is going to be looking like for the next month and a half, I guess. Yeah, for like I'll just say 2 months. For like 2 months, I'm going to come on stream and I'm just going to share with you guys the process of making a comic, because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm making a brand new comic. It's for a comic contest on Webtoons. And I just figured I'd share it with you guys because, well, Wednesday I come on to stream art, but I have to use my time to make the new comic. So I may as well do it on stream, use my time to make the comic, but also show you guys how it's done at the same time. So that way you guys still get your content and I'm still using my time to make the comic, and getting it done before the deadline, because there is a deadline that I have to meet. So that's what the art content is going to be for the next few months. Yep. All right, so that's what to expect. So hopefully, like I said earlier, next week we'll start sketching out the actual comic with the panels and everything. And yeah, hopefully we get to that point. And if I don't, then, you know, I'll figure something out. But that's what I'm aiming for. So again, no promises. But yeah. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you next week for another art stream, or I'll see you on Monday. If you're on Twitch, I'll see you on Monday for another gaming stream. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you follow Tower Tiffy Out Games if you want to hang out with me as I play video games on Monday. Currently, for next Monday, we're going to try to beat Sonic Frontiers DLC. I'm up to the final boss, and I'm super Sonic, and it's cool. And then if I finish that fight soon enough, we can start playing The World Ends With You, number 2, Neo. I'm going to start that game, and yeah, that's going to be fun. I actually have to check the rating on that. I don't know if that's a mature rated game. Okay, all right. Sorry, that's just me thinking all that. All right. But okay, everybody, have a good night. I'll see you next time. Like the video if you felt like it had some value. And once again, thanks for all the new subscribers on both channels. Thank you so much for the support, guys. And for those of you on Twitch, we just need 2 more followers to reach the 50 follower goal, and then I can possibly just finally hit affiliate, and you guys can get cool emotes and, you know, channel points and all that nice stuff. Okay. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Peace. Be kind to others. Your efforts will never betray you. See you next time.